Okay, so welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at two different Tesla Model X's. We have a 2018, this is the 75D, and then we have over here a 1690D, and this we just got from Tesla as a loaner while our other car's in the shop. But I wanted to just kind of show you that this one is a 5-seater, and then this one over here is a 6-seater, so we just want to do kind of a comparison, you know, show you the kind of the back seats and the storage in the cargo area, one versus the other, because the 5-seat is the standard version, 6-seat is an upgrade, and then you can also even get a 7-seat version. We'll show you how that would work. So let's, okay, so here we are in the second row. This is the 2018 75D with the 5-seat configuration. So it just has the bench. The 5-seat gives you the bench and then the two front seats. There's no third row option. So if you only need 5 seats or less, this is a pretty good option because not only does it give you a spacious rear back seat, one thing that's cool, even with not having captain's chairs back here, you still have a lot of nice under seat storage, almost like an airline seat that has storage underneath, under the floor, so you can fit bags and things like that down in there. On each side you can recline this one, so this is the single seat here and this is a double seat, so these seat backs here independently can recline. So I just use this recline button here. These ones are not equipped with any kind of automatic seats, so it's just manual here. So if I lift this up, that's going to put that all the way down. Behind each of the 3 seats in the back there is the tether for a car seat, so you could technically put 3 car seats across. I don't see any seat belt hooks. So in the 2 outside seats there's the hooks in here for car seats. There's not any in the middle seat, but there is on each of the outside seats. But this middle belt here does extend out all the way, and you could use that to, lock in a car seat. So it'll pull out all the way and it locks in, and then you can use it as a car seat tether. So if you technically have like 3 5-point harness type style car seats, you could put those in here. I'm going to show you the other side how that folds down. Okay, also, this is on the driver's side. So this is the driver's side seats are kind of connected. This is all one controlled backrest here. So if I lift up this lever here, that releases the seat. It's going to come down here. Here's our child seat tethers. Both seats down, it really gives you a pretty spacious area for cargo. If you see here, you can do that. Now that's one thing that the 6-seater over here cannot do, is you can't fold this middle or second row down. That's one advantage to having the bench seat in the back on this Model X, is you get that full flat floor. But here's another advantage. I want to show you this. If we go to the back here, the X with no third row seat has under storage compartment here. So if we take off this storage compartment lid, it lifts up. So under the floor, it's almost 7 inches deep, and then it'll run the whole area here because this back compartment pulls up. So it'll prop up like that, or you can even take it out completely. If you're going, let's say you're going on a road trip, you can just take this whole piece out. You could take that whole thing out, and that gives you an extra 7 inches of depth of storage there, and then it goes down even further into this area here. So you get a ton of storage because normally this is where the third row seats would be sitting and folding down into, and you gain that when it's only a 5-seat configuration. So you get really a lot of storage. So if you have, let's say you have 3 kids, you have 2 adults, and you're looking for a good road tripping machine, this would be it as far as storage is concerned, because not only do you have this deep well here, you have that, and if we just lift that up, you can see how deep that is. So you could even leave that and just put things down in here that you're not going to access as much, and have quite a bit of storage with all the panels put back in there. So you have a flat floor if you really want to haul stuff. So that's a great advantage to this vehicle, is really just the seats being able to fold down. Let me get the tape measure out. We're going to measure some of these, the volume area here. Okay, we're just going to get an overall volume, the length of the storage room. This is all the way to the back of the driver and passenger seats. We have almost 80, we're almost at 80 inches here. It's a big area. The height here we have just 27 inches tall, and then our width, let's say 41 inches wide. So quite a bit of area here to store stuff when you have that second row down. Okay, the second row feels pretty comfortable. It feels very similar to the six-seater. The seat's pretty much the same distance, but this is my driving position here. If I'm sitting behind, I'm 5'8". I'm not that tall, but you know, I've still got another 4 inches of you know, leg room here. I can adjust this here, so this can recline back. The seat doesn't move back. In the six-seater, this can move back and forth. The captains can be adjusted depending on if you need more leg room. But it's nice that at least this is adjustable, that you have that option. And then if I'm sitting in the middle seat here, even the middle seat's pretty comfortable. You could fit it, you know, you could fit 3 adults across here, no real issues. It might be a little tight, but 3 kids would be no problem, and you shouldn't have any problems fitting any, like you could probably definitely do 3 car seats across here as well. Okay, so here we are taking a look at the Model X. This is the 2016 that has the 6-seat option, and we're looking at the back trunk area. So it still has this same trunk storage space down there, which is pretty deep. What we like about this trunk area here is, like, if let's say you're going to get groceries, you know, you can put a lot of you can fill this whole area up, and then like what we do, you know, fragile stuff you can sit kind of on top of here. This lid is then can cover it, and then you can stack, you know, heavier stuff up here. So you can really fit quite a bit of stuff because, you know, you can stack on top of each other, and this cover, this board is really kind of the partition that's protecting your stuff down below. So that's kind of neat. On the 6-seat option, these are electric seats, so they fold down electrically. So if I push this little button, see this little button here right on the side, I push that, the headrest flips down, and then that folds down. The back 2 seats do have the car seat tethers. We actually have a car seat in this one here. I won't fold this one down, but you know, this is a 5-point harness car seat that fits, you know, fine in the back. The only difficult part moving up this seat is you have to push that button again in order to lift this seat up. So you have to, you know, open the door there, crawl in and touch the button on that side. But let's take a look at the second row. Okay, so our second row with just captain's chairs, obviously you're missing that center seat. One thing that you get is you get powered seat controls here. So I can move this seat back. If you have no one in the third row, you know, you could really move this quite a ways back. That's as far back as it goes. And that's giving me some more leg room. But the nice thing too is if you have kids here, you can, you know, you can adjust it forward, and it will, you know, gives you a little more room in the third row. Another feature, even though you have the center walk-through, so the reason why we chose the 6-seat option is, you know, we have 4 kids, so we obviously, the 5 seat's not an option. So the only option for us is 6 seats or 7 seats. If you're going to consistently use the third row, the 6-seat I think makes a little more sense. It did for us, because that way we don't have to constantly move the chair to be able to get to the back row. So what we do is the kids just walk right to the back. The smaller kids go in the back, so it's easy for them to get in, maneuver to the back, right through the middle. But if you have, let's say you have an adult in the back seat and they need to get out, and so they don't have to crawl around this way, there's a little button on the back of the seat here. If I push that forward all the way in one time, it does a, see that there, it moves all the way forward, and it's leaning forward, so that way someone can get out of the third row and stand up even, and you have that full area to stand up and walk out. So that's nice that you have the option of moving the seat forward or walking around through the middle of the seats, and then just one push on this puts it back. And then this can be adjusted also, the back, you know, it can lean back, it can lean forward, up, down. So this has more adjustability of the back seat. So the back seat passenger can have a little more customization of the seat. This is just showing the leg room. So this is where our 5-year-old sits in this seat here. And there's there's enough leg room there for him to have his legs hanging down there. Both cars, the center area is similar as far as the air conditioning. There's 2 USB power outlets. Push that in, you have 2 cup holders. On both models, you also have side pillar air vents. This is the older style switch. But you do get, when you have third row seating, so I'm looking back into the third row here. You have third row seating, you do have air vents in this rear pillar that are adjustable. So the rear passengers in the third row are comfortable with those vents. So you get some good airflow back there. So the rear passenger has pillar vent there and then a center vent here. So that's we haven't had any issues at all with ventilation and keeping the kids cool or warm with the heating version. Here you can see it sits on this pedestal, and you really get a lot of storage not only underneath it, but you also have the middle option. If you needed to put like a big suitcase, you could do that there. But you have under seat storage to put bags, things like that. So that really really helps expand the storage space in this. Okay, another point, just as far as being able to use the third row. Obviously, we're concerned about the third row because we have 4 kids, and if you're going to use that constantly, one thing that we discussed is that you could have, use the 3 in the second row, and then you could just leave 1 seat up, because the seats in the 7 row will go down independently. So you could have 1 seat up, but you'd still have to have like a kid. Really, I mean, the easiest way would be to get out through the trunk. And for example, Zach, come here. So, like, this isn't that low of a trunk. So, like, the kid would have to climb in every time like that, and then get into the third row climbing. So it couldn't be a small kid. If you had to put a kid into a car seat there, that would be very tough. It'd have to be like, Zach's 10-year-old, probably,
I mean, probably even Zane could climb up there, but.
Yeah, so maybe a 5 or 6-year-old. But our 5-year-old can't buckle his own seatbelt. He can in a harness, but not a booster seat. So that's something to consider. So I think that kind of lends our discussion. It kind of leads back to 6-row, or the 6-seater version. Probably suits us best when we have 4 kids. Yeah, we don't have an extra seat if we have to take a kid's friend along or something. But the 6-seater configuration at least is the most practical as far as getting kids in and out, keeping them separated so they're not constantly fighting, and just kind of ease of use. Okay, so my wife and I were just talking about, like, we have 4 kids, so the 6 or 7 seat option really is our only option. We were talking about if we only had 3 kids, which one would we choose? Would we choose the 5-seater or the 6-seater? And we kind of both decided that the 6-seater would probably still get the 6-seater, because our kids, I don't know about yours, ours just fight constantly. Like, if we're on a road trip, if they're next to each other, they just fight. So at least with the 6-seater, you have two in the second row, and then, like, this is how, if you had 3 kids, you could do 1, 2, 3, and they're more separated. You lose a little cargo room here, but you still have this seat that can fold down. You've got all this room under here. You got the front trunk, so you still got there. Now, I guess if you only had 2 kids, or even 3, and they get along and they love each other and they don't fight, then yeah, you could do the 5-seater. But it is nice to have that extra seat, the 6-seater option. Ideally, I guess you could do, you can get the 7-seat option, right? If you get the 7-seat option, it would look just like this, but this area here now is a seat instead of storage. So you'd lose a little storage, but you'd have a third row basically, which would be nice. I think if you're constantly using the third row, it's kind of a hassle to have to fold down a seat every time, getting kids in and out every time you stop somewhere. So the 6-seat, I think, is kind of ideal for us. That's why we chose that. But at least hopefully this gives you an overview of some information if you're deciding, do you do 5, 6, or 7 seats? Obviously going to depend on your situation, but those are our thoughts. that's kind of our situation. So anyways, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more good Tesla content. Thanks.